Welcome to Storyland Theatre. That's the way we've opened some 1,250 school shows, Saturday family matinees, and online videos over 35 years. So it seems appropriate that we do the same now as we celebrate Storyland. When my children, Nancy and Stuart, were young, the options to see children's theater performed by adults were mediocre, sloppy, and lackluster. Children attending shows were bored and disinterested. Storyland was born to offer shows that would entice children, creating real theater magic so children would learn to love the arts.
We also provided a product that nobody else did in the area. The quality was like no other organization, and I was proud to be a part of that.
When we became a 501c3 nonprofit Georgia corporation, we had one goal in mind: to make imaginative live theater performed by adults available to every child, regardless of their ability to pay. We offered discounts, transportation credits to help pay bus costs, and free tickets to our shows, ensuring students from 16 counties can attend. Our school shows are locally written original plays and musicals with fairy tale themes, written especially for Storyland.
Money. Dependable, befriendable, eminently spendable money. Whether paper or coin, whether silver or gold, is delightful to spend, quite lovely to hold. There's nothing better than money. I love money. Dependable, befriendable, eminently spendable money.
That we use local composers, local playwrights, to create these wonderful new stories and reinventions of old stories that we know and love, but putting our own Storyland twist on them.
I really liked acting for Storyland, not only to hone skills, but really shaping young lives. Because Bettelheim, in his book, The Uses of Enchantment, he talks about fairy tales don't necessarily tell us about the external world. In essence, their importance lies in the fact that we're changing what happens on the inside of the individual, that conflict that these young kids are going through, and it gives them something to identify with.
Since Storyland began, students at school shows have always had reserved seats. Our 50 volunteer seaters a show, many of whom are retired teachers, take students directly to their seats.
The men and women that help us, our greeters, are the individuals that come in and give of their time to greet every child, to walk each child to their seat.
The seating arrangements for all the kids, which is a lot. That was a lot, I remember. And I remember coordinating with Harriet and trying to get everybody seated.
We have a rare opportunity because it is a Saturday, but I'd like you to meet the lady who runs our house all week. And this week we have had over 6,500 people see our show. And Harriet Brantley is responsible for seating them all.
We've been fortunate to have dedicated house managers, a huge responsibility. And Harriet Brantley, who had that position for many years, did an incredible job. We recently lost our Harriet and want to dedicate this evening to her. For 17 years, we performed at the Grover C. Maxwell Performing Arts Theater at Augusta College, creating innovative sets, costumes, lighting, and special effects so children could experience the finest theater available here.
You know pigs squeal and crocodiles cry, but I'm gonna make a chicken fly. He's gonna jump right out of this old hat into a big old tree, and that is that.
When we first started working with Barbara, I encouraged her for us to build new costumes, but she's kind of a creature of havoc, and she liked using the same ones. But we convinced her one play, let's do a couple of new ones. And then after that, it was, let's do all new ones.
Since over 70% of our audiences have always been socioeconomically disadvantaged, attending live theater was a unique educational opportunity. Most would never experience live performances if they didn't attend on school field trips.
But my favorite part about the kids was interacting with them after the show and talking to them Barbara used to tell us that some kids think this is a movie. They don't really quite understand that this is a play. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. And then you go out there and they're like, whoa, you're a real person. And they feel, they like see you and they're like, wow.
Your Majesty! Don't call me Your Majesty. I got no use for kings and queens. They're boring, the whole bunch of them. Just plain boring.
Who are you?
Glad you asked. My name is... Never mind what my name is. It's not important. What is important is that I know how to spin base straw into precious gold.
We always gave back to the community, whether it was giving in monies to help schools that were less fortunate, parents that could not afford. We gave away ticket after ticket after ticket for years.
In 32 years of live shows, almost 749,000 students, teachers, and families attended Storyland. Since we opened in 1988, we've provided over $1 million in discounted or free tickets and transportation credits to schools and families. In 2005, when we had to leave Augusta College after 17 years, we were welcomed at the Imperial Theatre. During our 9 successful years at the Imperial, we also did Saturday school shows for over 2,300 Richmond County Saturday school students. Over 183,000 people attended Storyland Theatre performances at the Imperial Theatre. We were invited to return to Augusta University's Grover C. Maxwell Performing Arts Theater in 2014 with a venue sponsorship so we could afford to perform at the Maxwell Theater once more. Since our return, in the last 6 years of live shows before COVID shut us down, over 127,600 people attended, including 95,000 attending on discounts, transportation credits, or free tickets. Before school shows, students hear a theater etiquette speech explaining how to behave and what to expect, since many have never attended a live show.
When I say 1, 2, 3, Cinderella is right back here behind this curtain. And when I say 1, 2, 3, if you could all call for Cinderella, that might help start the show. Can you do that? You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Storyland Theatre and our winter production of Jack and the Beanstalk.
So a lot of you have heard this before, but I do have a few rules to go over that'll make the play more enjoyable.
No talking, because you want to be able to hear what the actors are saying.
When you like something, we want you to clap, and if you think something's funny, please laugh.
One of the things I really love about Storyland Theatre is it teaches children what theater is all about.
But as soon as the curtains opened and the music played or the first voice sounded, they were hooked. It was amazing.
We see the change in behavior during the performance. Students sit quietly, laugh and clap appropriately, and leave the theater entranced, already knowing proper behavior the next time they attend. Parents and grandparents share performances with their families at Saturday community matinees.
And having children of my own, it was always exciting to take my kids to the plays as they rolled around in each one, and I was able to share with my kids that I was in the plays.
Now, when you have someone for dinner, it's a whole different story, right, Grumble?
Right, it's a whole different story.
Whatever do you mean? Why, you just plops them in the oven.
In the oven? Then you plop some on the table.
On the table, do you mean? You eat some!
I think that by taking them to Storyland, because it was appropriate for a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and there's not anything else in the area that you can find live theater that would engage a child, a small child, that way.
Well, my first experience with Storyland was when my daughter was not even 3 years old. We went to see Sweeping Beauty. She was too little to even fit in the folding chairs. The chair kept going like this. I had to sit with my leg partially in her chair to leave it down. And from the moment the curtain opened until the curtain closed at the end, she was completely mesmerized. That day, a seed was planted in my own daughter that was far more important than I could ever imagine. In that theater that day, something magical happened.
Those audiences meet the actors who sign autographs and take photographs after the show. It's one of our favorite activities.
We have all of our characters come out and they sit at a table, and every kid gets to meet them and have an autograph. Because to see a kid look at you and say, I want to do what you do.
I had such a great experience with Storyland Theatre, and it still means a lot to me now. And I've kept many of the pieces from the play. Here's about 10 years of the programs that I have kept with all of the great autographs and notes from all of my castmates that I still cherish.
We want to say hi to all the Girl Scouts who came. Will the Girl Scouts please stand?
And we've enjoyed lots of Girl Scouts at matinees. Storyland has supported Fort Gordon since 2005, providing unlimited free tickets to weekday school shows for students from Freedom Park K-8 school and the Fort Gordon Child Development pre-kindergarten programs on the base. We provide free tickets to Saturday matinees and ask military families to stand so we can thank them for their service.
Saturday is our special day that we always enjoy having members of our military come and join us, and I would like you all to please stand up so we can say thank you to you for all that you do for all of us. Everybody in the military, families. Thank you all so much.
Our free tickets and open invitation encourage them to attend. In 2010, Brigadier General Jeff Foley, Commander, U.S. Army Signal Center of Excellence and Fort Gordon, awarded us a plaque.
Well, Barbara, thank you for the invitation and the opportunity just to take 1 or 2 minutes today to say thanks to you. You know, for all those who serve, we're volunteers and we serve in support of a grateful nation. And anything that the nation does, that the community does, that just says thanks. That's all we're looking for. Somehow, some recognition of only that we're part of the community and that we are all in this together. And what you and your board and your team has done, your team of professionals, your volunteers, what they've done for the last 5 years in raising money and giving money to wonderful causes, in creating opportunities for kids, little kids and big kids, to create some life experiences, to let their minds wander for a little while they are entertained for folks on stage. As a kid growing up, I was always in admiration of those who could stand on stage and sing or speak or act. It's a wonderful thing. You learn so many lessons up here about teamwork and life lessons about when things go well and when things don't go so well. For the kids who watch the stories, this is a wonderful story about life. Even today, this wonderful play. So it's a great opportunity for the kids, and I have a small presentation I want to give to you, Barbara, and your board on behalf of all those folks who just stood up. And even today, we have 1,124 members of Fort Gordon who are deployed overseas in harm's way. And many of their families are sitting right here while their loved ones are gone. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for your support to the military families, for your presentations to kids and schools, for all of us. It means the world to us.
So far, over 21,000 military and dependents have attended Storyland plays free.
The magic moments of letting them see what's happening and how it happens on the stage is so brilliant because it shows them how it works and how theater itself happens. And I can't imagine just the sheer number of young people that were inspired by seeing those moments on stage and then growing up and becoming actors themselves, performers themselves, and theater crews, light engineers, sound engineers. All of these things are born from early exposure to the arts, and that is a brilliant and powerful way to show them theater magic.
For our first 17 years, we were fortunate to be sponsored by Augusta College's Department of Theater and later Fine Arts. We offered college scholarships to theater and fine arts students each year, and they performed with us on stage.
One thing I did with Storyland that I was quite proud of, and even prouder of Storyland, is I got to assign the scholarships to students of mine, and not only to help them financially with their education, but also to give them a taste of professional theater.
So I was determined to get that because that was going to be really important for me because I was paying for college. As I was moving into my junior year, I did get the scholarship, and I was able to do at least one Storyland a year. Then my last year, my senior year, I also got the scholarship again.
There's no point in pretending that I am not. That's why there are no mirrors anywhere except in your chambers. I cannot bear to see myself and remind myself of how I really appear to others. Sometimes I actually forget. Then I will see my reflection in the pond. I will remember how hideous I am.
I was slated for Clemson, actually, and had it not been for our friend who called my mom and said, hey, Storyland Theatre is offering a scholarship at Augusta College. You should have Trisha do it, because I had done a play in high school. And so that's it, though. That was the first time I'd ever auditioned for anything using a monologue. It was the first time I considered even studying acting at all. And I was very fortunate that I had the scholarship for 3 years as the Storyland Theatre Scholarship, and then my 4th year, I was able to get the Jim Stovall Memorial Scholarship. So the first one I did was Frog Prince.
Sunrise is only a little while away. Not only that, but I don't like the way their cook looks at me. Every time she sees me, she licks her lips and pats her stomach.
Lend an ear. Make this doorway disappear. Let me out of here. Not likely, dearie. Not now, not ever. Why are you being so mean to me? It's my job, dearie. I'm a witch. Besides, nobody's ever been nice to me before, so why should I be nice to anybody else? Well, you cannot keep me up here. I'll jump. Will you really? Yes.
Rapunzel. And the big tall tower. I loved it, and I think at first I was really scared, but you guys made it very safe. Like, I never felt unsafe. So when I was scared, it was only because I have a thing about heights. But then when I think when I found it to be most fun, when it stopped feeling like, okay, I'm climbing something, was when the kids were looking up at it like it's this huge tower, and that I'm like really high up in this thing, that it felt like, wow, I'm in a tower. I love that one. That was one of my favorites. The music from that one was amazing. And Cindy Wilkerson wrote the music for that. You had the best witch song ever, but I loved the music from that one, especially yet.
When I think about Storyland Theatre, I always smile, grin, or even laugh. I had such a great experience with my time. And I can't believe that it was actually 10 years of a span of doing plays with Storyland. It began with a scholarship, and I felt so incredibly blessed. Looking at Storyland Theatre, it was just extremely professional. Every stage was beautifully constructed. Makeup was just perfection with the makeup artist. The tech was just cutting edge. I remember we would have the mics positioned in a way that I had never seen before. And I was always in awe with the writers and the directors. I mean, award-winning for Storyland, for Augusta, and I would say they could have gone anywhere. If I think of Rick Davis and Roy Lewis and Matt Stovall, so many people that put so much time and effort in this group that made it what it was. When I think about the plays, and as most original fairy tales, they taught lessons while being very entertaining.
Oh, absolutely charming! What a clever song! Joseph, I think this is the most magnificent present you have ever received. People will be so jealous of your good fortune.
Your Majesty is pleased? Yes, it is a lovely gift.
Most of the plays were written, and they were very much empowering women in roles. If I think about my role as playing a female hobbit in Bilbo Baggins, and being able to be a fencing champion in the courtship of Senorita Floribella. Things that I didn't think about it at the time, but I know that that's incredibly important for children to have such a broad span of what they can do.
Oh, so I see the Senorita must be taught a little lesson, huh? I'm good.
So when I think about Storyland, it's the audiences that made it. Outside of Sundays, it was completely full of children. And when I say full, it was not just every seat at Augusta State was full, but every bench, every step, and sometimes every chair and standing up around the sides. It was amazing.
I am a 2-time recipient of the Storyland Theatre Scholarship, and that really helped me finish my degree. The minute I heard about Storyland, I said, that's what I'm going to do. So I was supported by it for 2 years and did lots of shows, not just on the stage, but as makeup and tech and hair and wigs and anything else needed, and it was a great joy to be a part of it. I couldn't have finished my degree without it, and so now that I've graduated, looking back, it's so lucky that I had the opportunity to be a part of it.
And stop calling me woman! Especially in front of strangers, always booming around with woman this, woman that, like I'm some kind of animal. I have a name, you know.
You do? What is it?
Miranda.
Miranda. I'd forgotten. That's kind of pretty.
During those years, we donated $85,000 to Augusta College in student scholarships, theater equipment. We donated $30,000 to the City of Augusta in free arts tickets for arts infusion schools, for Fort Discovery, and support for Davidson Fine Arts students to travel to Tacarasica.
It's one of the most successful financial fundraising organizations for charity and philanthropy in the history of Augusta, particularly for scale. In other words, how many people were working on it, how much money we raised, literally thousands and thousands of dollars for charity, literally hundreds of thousands of free or reduced tickets to poor and underprivileged children all over the CSRA, and that is an incredible legacy, So very proud of that.
From day one, all of our plays for children have been original works written for us by local playwrights. Rick Davis primarily.
They stole her.
What?
They took the Hobbit. 2 of them. They were dressed in rags. One of them was having a really bad hair day.
Big, clumsy, nasty looking?
Yes.
It was trolls.
They went over there, that way.
There's no doubt about it, it was trolls.
As well as David Bartlett.
First of all, our author, our playwright is here. He's a local Augustan. His name is David Bartlett. David, where are you? Hey. Thank you, David.
Rick Bracken.
Neighbors.
I tell you what, Jack, let's put the beanstalk back up. Then we can chop some steps in it to make it easier on the ladies. We'll be right upstairs, and you can come and visit us and Lady Belle whenever you'd like.
And Barbara Feldman.
Could face me and not run. Could she really look at me and see the man inside of me? Please come back, beautiful one, or I really will die of a broken heart.
And I got the opportunity to work with Rick Davis, who was brilliant. He wrote lines and dialogue that was incredibly creative. They were funny. They were on point with children and adults. I remember after weeks of rehearsals and weeks of shows, I would still find myself laughing at the lines because they were just funny.
The original vision of Storyland Theatre was to give school-age children something that they could appreciate on their very own, presented to them by adults. It was the founders' dream and their mission, never to talk down to the kids. But everyone wrote with one mission in mind, and that was to let the kids in on the story, not to preach to them, not to talk down to them, not to patronize them. And I think that's one of the reasons Storyland was successful for as many years as it was. The kids appreciated it. The teachers really appreciated it.
With music by local composers, Aloy Fominaya and Bertha Toole in the early years, followed by Susan Burgess primarily, as well as Cindy Wilkinson.
When I was asked to write the music for Storyland Theatre, I was honored. I had really not written. I had arranged a good bit for piano and for voice, come out with melodies that I was proud of. But Rick made it incredibly easy, and then later I got to work with Barbara, and she followed the same pattern, that she would, both of these together, would let me work with lyrics or let me change rhythms in the line and the flow. And I think it was something that I can be proud of. It was a collaboration with both Barbara and Rick through the writing of these melodies to go with their lyrics.
I ended up writing an album of original songs because I was inspired by Susan, who wrote so much of the music that we did at Storyland.
Many of the actors and crew you see in these videos will be familiar.
So my earliest memories of Storyland are getting a call from Richard Justice. I'd just done a show with Richard, and he said, Barbara Feldman contacted me, and she asked me if it was okay to get your number to do a show with Storyland. And I thought, this is it. So I went to the very first rehearsal, and I was terrified. And I just found this warm, gracious, wonderful person who wanted the best for theater. I really appreciated all that she gave to me throughout those years, those earliest moments in Storyland. But what Storyland does is not only teach empathy, which I think is an important part of children enjoying theater, but they get to see forgiveness and reconciliation and things that we should all be better about acted out. To see the forgiveness that happens when we open our hearts and allow ourselves to forgive and heal. And I think that's one of the things that Storyland is really good at, just showing children how that happens. And I wonder how many of them take that back with them to their classrooms, and maybe they're having a hard time with a teacher or with friends or being bullied, and they get to mold these things that they saw on stage that are super important for their growth and development.
I have always been able to make pictures with my songs. They just come to me. I don't even have to think how to make them sound the way they do.
Oh, to you they are easy, but to others they are magic. Yes, pure magic. And no mechanical bird, whether with or without jewels, could ever compete with the magic of your song. Oh, courage, Nightingale. I will visit you again as soon as I can.
Well, here is your water, little Nightingale. If you're so smart, why don't you learn to fetch your own water instead of bothering me?
I moved back to Augusta after law school, started doing shows with Storyland, and it was the most fun experience. Such a professional experience, professional costumes, original music, original scripts.
You're dearer to me than gold could ever be, so I no longer care about money, mere money, incomprehensible, indefensible, utterly reprehensible money.
We got to perform in front of thousands of kids who are such an honest audience. So it was so good for me as a performer to learn how to judge, whether you have their attention or not, to make sure you get the laughs, to make sure you get the oohs when there was a kiss in Sleeping Beauty. I love that. So much fun. And just the rehearsals were a blast. The costumes were first class. We had the audio system was amazing. The whole thing really made such a big impression on me.
Many of our actors became interested in theater after attending Storyland performances as children.
I remember going in and seeing this giant tower on stage and thinking, wow, how cool is that? And I remember the first thing that truly just made me go, wow, was seeing Rapunzel. Storyland had used the orchestra pit, the levels of that, making it come up and down, and seeing people come out of the ground. It was the coolest thing to me. And then to watch basically this scenery on stage come to life, and the animated characters created by these actors, it just mesmerized me, and it took over every facet of my childhood imagination. And little did I know that moment of seeing that show and seeing that giant tower on stage was going to be the moment that sparked a lifetime of excitement to get into theater.
My first experience with Storyland originally was as a child coming to the theater and watching the actors on stage and seeing the magic of theater. And that is really what began my love of theater, and seeing the actors and the sets and the props. And I just loved it.
Get your hands off my house, you little brat!
But my brother's very hungry, and you said...
Never trust a witch, missy. You are just a little skinny, but we'll fatten you up when the time is right.
Well, I started with Hillcrest Baptist Church School here in Augusta, and we started going K-5, and I'm told we kind of went every year through second or third grade, so we really got to see as many shows as we could. And the one show that I remember had, as my recollection was back then, there was a lady in the tree and there was magical music and fairies, and the light cube would do the little changes. And for years that stuck out to me because it just stayed with me. And I later learned that it was Barbara Feldman herself, Mrs. Finnerty, and that one was, I want to say it was Beware What You Ask of a Fairy, I want to say. And I think I got to come see that years later when I started working with you guys. So it was a really, full circle moment there.
I'd known Barbara Feldman for many years before she invited me to participate in Storyland. What I really appreciated her doing was inviting some incredibly amazing young talent in this area to become part of Storyland. And what's really fun and interesting is that several of the people that were kids when we started working with them, you've got so many other incredible young people that have started off in Storyland Theatre and gone on to have accomplished careers in the arts, in the communications field. And I really think that they, in some parts, are where they are today because of some of the influence and certainly some of the participation and some of the great experience they gained through Storyland.
Storyland has always been a labor of love. We made every show our best show, and each time we repeated a play, around every 5 years, we tried to make it better with new techniques, special effects, even adding underscoring to entrance the children.
And so the king built a great fire, and all the elves from Fiery Lake gathered all the spinning wheels in the kingdom and threw them into blaze. For 3 days and 3 nights the fire raged.
When the fire finally burned out, not a single spinning wheel was to be found in the entire kingdom. At least none that King August and the royal guard could find. But the king was still worried about his beloved daughter, so every day he searched for Maleficent.
We wanted children to learn that anyone could be a performer, and we have always made sure to include various ethnicities, ages, and appearances in our productions so children would know that anyone can be an actor at Storyland.
I could look up on stage and be enthralled by the characters, but they had black performers too, and as a kid, seeing that makes a difference. You look at that and you go, they're like me, maybe I can be on stage doing that one day. And, well, I did. I did end up doing it. And what can I say? It was just a really wonderful experience.
We tried new projects as time went by. Always searching for a way to support our community, we performed at Arts in the Heart of Augusta for 7 years as part of the festival offerings. First, joining with Steve Walpert, who had created a walk-through Storybook Land specifically for the festival.
You're agreed, Jamie O'Connell.
I am indeed. And if it's a leprechaun you're wishing to be, I wish that for you too, sir.
So we'll go find her, and she'll help us out, I'm sure. Now, she lives over there beyond the green. Wait a minute. I tell you what, let's sing this little song as we go along. We're going to see Maureen, who lives across the green. We're going to see Maureen, who lives across the green. Let's go! We're going to see Maureen. Thank you, sir. Oh, but surely she'll let you sing while you work. Perhaps if I spoke to her.
Oh, could you now? I'd be singing for you the loveliest song I know. Sing! Is it? Didn't I tell you that 3 hours ago that we no more silly singing? Didn't I know?
Here, wait just a minute. We'll have none of that.
Go out to me where you was fool, or I'll give you a tip. Go back here, Maureen! No, he does that like a little... No, very well. No, I was just about to speak. Really, no, come back, help me.
Later, we sponsored and produced our walk-through Storyland for 6 more years, offering new plays to match ethnic groups highlighted at the festival. Losing It, a play by Rick Davis, produced by Peggy Williams, focused on drug and alcohol awareness in high-risk youth. Created with a Georgia Human Services grant in 1990, it toured 15 area middle and high schools, culminating with a performance at the Maxwell Theatre. Students watched the performances, then went back to class to discuss it. Over 4,000 people viewed it.
And it was a very intimate, it was not even a stage. It was the same floor where the middle schoolers would sit, and we were incredibly close to the audience. And we talked about 3 plays, 3 one-acts. What is the experience of dealing drugs or having someone to introduce you to alcohol and drinking and driving and actually having someone die in that situation? So it was very impactful. And I remember that many students came up to us after that and just talked about their own experiences.
And it was written about drugs and alcohol and the effect they have on young people and teenagers. And we toured that among middle schools, high schools, and there were thousands of kids in that gymnasium. And it was the only time, at the end of it, it ends on a very solemn kind of note for us. And I remember being amazed. I'd never heard that many kids be absolutely quiet in a gym. You could have heard a pin drop.
In 1994, we sponsored and produced the CSRA's first children's concerts with a grassroots grant and a joint venture with the Augusta Symphony. 2 free shows introduced 1,500 socioeconomically disadvantaged children to a live orchestra. In the early years, we also delved into dinner theaters, with several performed at the Sheraton Augusta, Westlake Country Club, Walton Way Temple, at the Levee, and for private groups. They met with great success.
Okay, well, you and I will do the dinner, and there, you and I and tell us a little story on the football. We want to announce the thing before anybody else steals it. I will not go for saying it all. It's the future part of America. And now, I should be so scared. I'll have to get a job. There I did with a degree in music. Oh, look terrific. It's the outfit. I never have the nerve. Oh, it's pretty. Pretty expensive out there. Wherever did you pick that up? Nana, up Soho. Oh, well, I would know about that. You know me, Mrs. Lord and Taylor. Now I have lunch with my kids. Look, you're trying to depress me.
You see what I mean about our generation?
But it's every generation. You have kids and they come first. You know what I really spend my days doing? Sorting socks. You are love here in my arms where you belong.
And here you will stay. I'll not let you away. I want day after day. The hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years. The hills fill my heart with the sound of music. My heart wants to sing every song it hears. Every song it hears. Don't throw bouquets at me. Don't please my folks too much. Don't laugh at my jokes too much. People will say we're in love. Don't sigh and gaze at me. Your sighs are so like mine. Your eyes mustn't go like mine. People will say we're in love.
When the COVID years forced schools to shut down and Storyland to stop performing live, we immediately created a free Storyland YouTube channel, including archival videos of 2 of our favorite musicals, Jack and the Beanstalk and later Cinderella. They remain free online, and many teachers continue to have students watch them in school or at home, keeping Storyland available to the children.
Instead, that I'm dancing alone, always dancing alone.
See a little sample of Lady Belle's dancing. All right, come on, Lady Belle. This nice man's going to help us. Show him how you dance. No! She's very sad she has to leave us. Perhaps I can cheer her up.
The following year, we created an original animated video musical by Davis and Burgess entitled Humphrey Clinker Gets His Wish.
Barbara had this wonderful idea to do videos, like animated videos
that we would voice over. In the first one, which is Humphrey Clinker Makes a Wish, and I got to voice the fairy Buttercup.
I love daisies and roses, sweet jasmine and pansies. They tickle our noses, then tickle our fancies.
We still were able to perform for the children.
It took extensive work and required a totally new skill set for us.
I remember when we did Humphrey Clinker, and we didn't know what was going to happen. The pandemic had just started, and we all come into the studio, and we just start recording and singing and learning, and it was such a magical experience to see a group of, artists come together and be like, the kids aren't getting the same art that was the mission behind Storyland in the first place, was to get art to kids, and now we're in a position where we can't right now. So I think Humphrey Clinker was just a real magical experience, especially during that time.
Rob Forbes created all of the effects and animation. Mickey Wilcoff drew each character.
Go home.
Buttercup! Buttercup!
Oh, Firefly!
We released it in April 2021, making it available free to any school with reservations. We provided lesson plan ideas, discussion questions, standards, and even coloring pages for an in-class field trip.
I was asked to come here to speak about the play that my children saw. I told them we're going to have popcorn, and when the popcorn was popping in the back, they were looking, and then they couldn't keep their eyes off the screen. So they were listening to the popcorn, and they were looking at the movie, and they were so excited. After the movie, I had several worksheets that were given to me where the children could color. After they colored them, they were so excited, standing there waiting for their paper to come through the laminator, and they look at it and say, wow, look at what I did. They worked on the standards first and how to act when they were at a play, and how to dress their best like they were really going somewhere and they were just coming to school, and how to act when they were there and they didn't talk, they didn't bother anybody. Some of them laid down on the floor and acted like they were really at home watching TV. Some of them sat up, and the laughs that they gave, and I told them they could laugh, they could enjoy themselves, as long as they were embellishing what was going on and not being immature. And that was so important to them.
We later made it available for anyone to watch free on our YouTube channel.
Just the magic behind it, the process of, this line needs to be read a little bit differently because it's going to be animated and they're not going to see your face.
All right, let's carry these lovely clothes to His Highness. The parade will begin as soon as he's ready.
Good idea, Mr. Stitch. If you'll carry the shirt and trousers, Master Rip can carry the cape. I will carry the crown, and Mistress Ferret will carry the stockings and shoes.
Shirt, trousers. Please pick up the cape, Master Rip.
Stitch, would you hand me that cape, please?
Me? But I don't see... I can't, don't you see? I'm holding this shirt and these trousers.
I'll hand it to you, Master Rip. Hold it up higher. We wouldn't want it to drag the floor now, would we?
No. No, of course not. We certainly wouldn't want it to drag the floor. Rip and Stitch!
Coming, Highness!
To get to work in a studio that was so careful about precautions and safety and health while still making the recordings was wonderful.
The challenges of the COVID shutdown kind of put us into a little bit of a predicament. We couldn't do live theater, which is Storyland's thing. So Barbara and a few of the other members of the board kind of had a brainstorm and decided to take several of our scripts, Humphrey Clinker and The Emperor's New Clothes, and turn them into animated productions. Humphrey Clinker was the very first, and that's a unique show, and it kind of stands on its own. And while it was very well received, I think we were a little bit nervous about how we could pull it off. Well, it looked so good, it looked so beautiful, it was so well animated that we decided to go back in and do another one, which was Emperor's New Clothes.
Mama, look! The Emperor's walking around in his underwear!
I'm in my underwear! Oh.
Once again, it was free to schools with reservations, complete with all of the support materials.
Now, I am an elementary music teacher and have been for many, many years. COVID took away a lot of things, but we were able to go on a virtual field trip last year when Storyland did their virtual plays, and I was able to share that with my boys and girls, and it was so exciting to be able to go on a field trip and not even leave my classroom, but the boys and girls loved it so much. I did use the coloring pages that were included in the lesson plans, and I put the lesson plans to use the standards. It was very easy to use. Everything was there for me. I just copied and pasted it into my existing plans.
And later, we opened it to everyone to view. People from all over the country have watched it. We recently had an exciting opportunity. On December 31, 2022, WRDW-TV aired a 1-hour show complete with commercials entitled Storyland Theatre, The Emperor's New Clothes. And the following day, January 1, 2023, WAGT-TV aired it again.
Calling all princes and princesses to Storyland Theatre has a show just for you. Tune in this weekend for 2 wonderful shows as we present to you The Emperor's New Clothes, bringing you the arts to both see and hear, and wishing you all a happy new year.
To have our animated productions be seen on a broadcast network. I mean, not anybody can have a broadcast special on an NBC affiliate or a CBS affiliate. I mean, there was a potential for 500,000 people to see it. And it aired not only once, but twice.
Unfortunately, after COVID, Augusta University took away our venue sponsorship, making it impossible for us to afford to perform live. But all our videos will remain available on our channel, with more to be added as time goes by.
During the years of our key operation on stage, we put more patrons in seats, more ticket-holding attendees than any other arts group in Augusta, by far. A big production, awful lot of kids, an awful lot of patrons, and no one else in this area during that run came close to performing for that many people.
Students who attend Storyland asked to study the arts, theater, dance, music, visual art. Several students attending Storyland as children now perform with us or attend Storyland with their own children.
So I am so thankful for that opportunity, Barbara. And I think it's a brilliant idea, what you did. Thousands and thousands of kids being bussed in to see these professional, wonderful, original shows. I wish I had that when I was a kid, because I would never forget it. And who knows how many kids will be inspired to pursue music who have seen those shows.
My favorite experience is meeting and working with an adult who came to Storyland as a child, and there are so many now. I know we played a part in developing their interest in the arts. To see them as part of us is a true endorsement of our success.
And then when I was 19, I did my first show with Storyland. And funny story, I was in Jack and the Beanstalk, and I was supposed to play Lady Belle, the dancing cow. But 2 weeks into rehearsals, Barbara Feldman, the director, called me, and she says, "Lacey, I need you to be Jack." And I said, "Barbara, I'm a girl." But we worked through it. We did the wig, and we did the costuming and everything. And 4 weeks later or so, I was on stage, and I was Jack for my first show with Storyland Theatre. And then I think it was 5 years later, I actually came back and was Jack again.
A beanstalk then, but a giant one, a magic one.
Well, it is rather pretty, but what are we going to do with it?
I'll climb it. There must be something magic at the top.
Oh, no, it's too dangerous to do that.
Don't worry, Mother. The beanstalk is ours. It won't hurt us.
You know, we started going in 97. We went to about 2,000, give or take. And then, you know, it was a nice core memory. I held on to it, but I never would have imagined that 20 years from when I started going, I would actually be on stage. First show we did was Jack and the Beanstalk.
7 beans? You sold a cow for 7 beans? What good are 7 beans?
But Mother, they're magic!
Magic? Tragic is more like it. Oh, how could you be such a foolish boy?
Well, Mr. Throckbottom said they were magic. All we have to do is plant them and something magic will happen.
Something magic. For instance, maybe the hunger in our stomachs will disappear?
Well, the man said they were worth 7 shillings.
Oh, he did he? Well, I'll show you what they're worth.
Mother!
The talent that Storyland Theatre has, and working with Barbara herself, I mean, it was an amazing experience. And I got to kind of continue that for the next few years. Now, one thing I wouldn't have believed is that a lot of the shows that I ended up doing were shows that I went to see as a kid. You know, we went to see Jack and the Beanstalk as a kid, and then, 2017, there I am as Jack himself in Jack and the Beanstalk. And we saw Mademoiselle Hood meets Lil Wolf, and then I ended up in the show.
Do you people realize that you have made a mess of these fairy tales when you have these children confused? All right, I'm going to get this mess straightened out.
It was brought to me, hey, we're looking for someone that I think you might be that person to play the role of Gollum in Bilbo and the Magic Ring. So when I was asked to do this and to know that it was with Storyland Theatre, I thought, yes, like absolutely. But I really wanted to make sure that I made it happen because I thought to myself, there's no way I'm turning down this opportunity to work with Storyland. This is literally the production company that created my spark to want to do theater and to want to be involved on stage.
People like Michael Fortino, who as a child had seen Storyland every year, and that impacted his career choices, and then interviewing him as a professional actor in Stranger Things.
My first experiences with Storyland Theatre started off when I was 5 years old. I remember vividly going to see Hansel and Gretel. I remember Barbara coming out, giving the pre-show speech, and just remember the Maxwell Theater going completely dark and the lights coming up and just seeing the stage and everything and the giant oven, and it was just magical. It was the first time that I'd ever seen a live performance like that, and I knew then that this was something that I would be interested in doing. And so I performed, and I met Barbara in 2001 doing Fiddler on the Roof. I remember I wanted to do Storyland, and you were like, not yet, you gotta wait until you're done with school and in college. And so the next year I went and auditioned. I was 18, and that's when I did my first show, which was Bilbo and the Magic Ring, which is my favorite show, actually.
Oh, silly spider, going around scaring little innocent hobbits. Well, good thing I wasn't really mad, though. I would have thrust at him so. I would have pointed my sword at his neck, and I would have said, "What do you have to say for yourself now, Mr. Spider?"
And then on to Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella and a lot of shows.
And the lightning flashed. I fell in love last night. My lonely heart took flight as I fell in love last night.
A way to work for Disney, and when I came, I wanted to learn both sides of the stage, and so I asked Barbara for an internship, and she gave me one as soon as I got back from Disney, and I worked and performed and learned everything about what goes into Storyland, not only as far as directing, on-stage stuff, but as far as planning and the seating arrangements for all the kids. That internship projected me to where I am now, just because it instilled a work ethic in me that I knew I needed to have in order to make it. And that's why right now I just finished a movie back in August that comes out August 2023. And I also have my SAG card. I've been on Netflix. I've done a lot of cool things. And it definitely would not have been possible without Storyland Theatre helping me out. You know, it's just been a magical experience. I mean, the many years working with Storyland, and they've given so much to me, and I wouldn't be where I am right now without Storyland.
I started coming to rehearsals at 6, 7 years old, and I would come with my mom, but sometimes I actually got to participate, and I got to hold book. So I got to hold the script and follow along, or sometimes I would get to stand in for people who weren't there. And I was also known as my mother's understudy, because whenever my mom didn't do what the director Rick wanted her to do, he would say, understudy, understudy, come replace her. And I was, 7, but I was going in. And I had such an incredible time. My biggest memories were always the matinees, because I got to be there for the action. I got to be there before the show, and I got to be in the dressing room. And as I got older, I really got to participate, and I got to do makeup and help with the costumes, and then help set things up and take the set down. And I got to do all of that. And then as I got older, when I was actually old enough to be part of it, working on the shows, it's the same thing. You get to be part of it. Being in theater is such a collaborative, because everyone is working together for a common goal. And I learned that from such a young age, being part of Storyland. I was really lucky to grow up in my family with my mom, because my mom was doing theater from the time I was very, very tiny. And then when she started her own theater, I got to be so involved, and I got to see every aspect of running a theater. And it really ingrained in me a true love of theater. And that absolutely influenced me for my entire life. And now I work in live theater. And I know that it's because of Storyland, and I know because of the influence of my mom, and being around so many performers and learning what really went into mounting a show from beginning to end, and learning that process was invaluable. Storyland has been such an incredible part of my life, and even after I've become a professional theatrical technician. And it has been incredibly wonderful to be able to come back and work shows, especially now that I'm a professional, being able to help when I can. It was like coming back home, because these people are my family. Growing up in Storyland was really impactful.
And now that you have a better idea of what we've been doing these last 35 years, we would love to share some of our favorite memories.
Smooch, smooch. Oh, handsome, would you like to marry me?
I am not marrying Princess Zucchini. I will marry whoever I want to marry. Maybe she won't even be a princess. Maybe she'll even be just a little bit dirty.
You marry a girl who isn't a princess?
Yes.
A dirty non-princess?
Maybe.
Don't count on it. Queen Bossy says you're marrying Zucchini, the stuck-up meanie, at 4 o'clock.
Are you sure?
I heard him talking.
I will pick my own bride.
Sure you will, as long as it's Princess Zucchini.
I sort of like you. Yes, I sort of like you. Hey, I sort of like you. No, that's not really true. I sort of love you.
That princesses are very delicate, so I want you to place this pea under Nutmeg's mattress. Then, in the morning, if she says she couldn't sleep because of a bump in her mattress, then I'll know she's a real princess. But if she says she slept well, then I'll know she's no real princess. And I'll throw her out of the castle and back back into the swamp where she came from, and my sonny boy will marry Princess Zucchini.
That sounds fair, I think. A true princess should be able to feel a pea under a mattress.
Oh, did I say a mattress?
Yes, dear, you said a mattress.
I meant to say 13 mattresses, 4 feather comforters, and 8 queen-size pillows.
That's not fair. Nobody could feel a pea under all of that.
Oh, isn't that a shame? Put the pea under the mattress.
It's not fair.
I'll cry.
I'll put the pea under the mattress, dear.
At this time, I'll be Mrs. Prince Handsome. Oh, I'm so sleepy. Nothing could disturb my sleep tonight. Nothing.
Tick tock, tick tock, ticky tacky tick tock. Night is falling, dreams are calling. Listen to the big clock. Tick tock, tick tock, ticky tacky tick tock, tick tock.
Left me a donut. It says so right on the sign. Eat the donut. This means you. Me! Oh, Rapunzel! I found a donut and a sign that says I should eat it. Oh, Rapunzel? Well, I'll just sit here and wait for her to return, and then I'll share my donut with her. Oh, but I won't eat any of it until she gets back, because that would be selfish and very rude. Oh no! I didn't mean to eat it by myself. Well, I'll just break what's left into 2 pieces. But I'll give the bigger piece to Rapunzel since I've already had a piece. And I won't eat any more of it until she gets back. So yummy. Oh no, I didn't mean to eat another piece. Well, I've had my share. That piece was Rapunzel's, not mine. And I'm not going to touch it. No matter what. Oh no! I ate it! I ate the whole donut all by myself! Oh!
I will eat my donut if I wish, without a napkin or a dish. No excuse me's when I sneeze, because I do just as I please. And my heart wounds, if you please.
And I'll not leave without you. For there is no happiness, no laughter, no good cheer, so long as you're not there, and I am all alone down here.
You bid us to, but of one small thing you must beware.
I have a daughter to sell, and I'm thanking you in advance.
What's her name?
Maureen.
Now, that's a pretty name. Tell me, is she a pretty girl?
Ah, yes, she's as pretty as a flower.
She'd better be. I buy only the pretty ones, you know. Tell me, does she have a trade?
A trade?
A trade, a skill. How can she be expected to work in one of my many factories from sunrise until sunset if she hasn't a skill?
Oh, a skill! Oh, well.
Can she spin flax into thread?
Thread? No.
Can she weave thread into cloth?
Not exactly your fairy ship.
Not exactly your fairy ship.
Oh, stepmother, I have the most wonderful news. Shalom Casey has asked me to marry him, and I said yes. With your permission, of course.
Yes, I've already heard about it.
Goodness, you have? I guess good news travels fast. Anyway, we were hoping for your blessing.
Me blessing? May I be struck dead first if I do not give me blessing?
Well?
Well, what?
The blessing.
Oh, all right, don't rush me. Bless you both.
Wagons, get out here this minute. It's about Symphony.
Gandalf, what are you doing here?
Symphony is gone.
Yes, I know. She left because I was too shy to tell her how much I love. How much I love her.
She didn't leave, Bilbo. Trolls took her.
Trolls? You've got to get her back. I love her.
You're right. You must get her back.
Me and Gollum will show it the way out. It can trust us, my precious. Never. I'll simply leave the same way I came in. What's so funny? Nasty hobbit bounced and rolled all the way in like a bouncy ball. Only Gollum knows the way out, my precious. Only Gollum. Give us this stone riddle.
If we can't guess a silly little riddle, then we show it the way to Symphony.
What if you do guess the riddle?
Then you guess my riddle.
Oh, what if I can't guess your riddle?
Then we eat it, my precious. We gobble it up.
Oh, terrific. The trolls want to gobble up Symphony, and you want to gobble me up? What is wrong with you people? Don't you know it's not polite to go around gobbling up everything that you meet?
Well, it hasn't got to get nasty about it. It's just the way things is. There's what gobbles, then there's them what gets gobbled.
Really? Name an animal that drops from the sky. Oh, no. I don't know that one. Oh, it doesn't know that one. Oh. That's too bad. Is it tender, my precious? Is it juicy and tender? Oh, wait! Stay back. Give me half a minute. Let me think. It's not a bird. No, it's not a bird, my precious. Oh, it's not a spider. No, no nasty spiders. No, no. Wait! Dear. Oh, dear me. Wait! Dear me. Oh, wait! That's it. Dear. Reindeer. Reindeer's the answer to the riddle. No!
There's a gob of dirty chewing gum stuck to the bottom of my royal shoe! Rip! Stitch! Get in here right now!
Coming, sire! We're coming, sire! We have your clothes here, sire. We're just going. Whoops! Sorry, sire. Small accident is all. We're fine. I'm fine. We're just.
It is a pity that we can never again weave such fine. Can't? Why not?
Yes, why not?
Because, gentlemen, never again will we find a man worthy of wearing the magical clothes that we weave.
Magical clothes? You weave magical clothes?
Oh, not for just anyone, you understand. Come along, Mistress Ferret. Excuse us, gentlemen. It is not our custom to gossip with strangers.
Yeah, it is not our custom to gossip with strangers. Besides, we're all out of thread.
We can get thread.
We're out of cloth, too.
Oh, we can get cloth.
A gold cloth?
Of course, gold cloth.
And of course, we must be paid in advance.
Oh, we'll pay in advance.
Our clothes are very, very expensive.
But money is no object.
How interesting.
Love's most important. Please never forget.
Magic. She was at the ball. At the palace. With the prince.
Oh, please. You don't expect me to
Dancing in a dress that I made with my magic.
It probably didn't fit.
She was taken to the ball in a coach that I made with my magic out of a pumpkin.
An orange coach. Now, I bet that was lovely.
It was. Drawn by 4 white horses that I created using my magic out of 4 white mice.
Sounds pretty
cheesy.
Cheesy!
Are you kidding? Cheesy! It's as simple as it can be. Like you are you and we are we. A place and time for everything. A place to sleep and time to sleep.
Your firstborn son.
But I have no son.
But perhaps one day you will.
I thought you didn't like perhaps.
Let's just say I'm willing to take a chance. If you have a son, you will give him to me. If you do not have a son, you owe me nothing. Do we have a deal? Little face, a sweet little grin, pale blue eyes, and a chinny chin chin. Not gonna be lonely anymore. Gonna shoo those blues from my door. When I win this game I got in store. Whoop! Yee! His father is a king, his mama is a queen, but his memory of that will drift off like a dream as he works all the day and deep into the night, scrubbing and cleaning till he gets it right. He'll say I'm his papa and I'll call him my boy, and when I've grown quite old he'll bring me comfort and joy.
And the child is mine, all mine. Your turn, young miss.
Oh, let me see. Could it be?
Yes, well, hurry up, I haven't got all day.
Oh, could it be?
Mm-hmm.
Could it possibly be Rumpelstiltskin?
What? What did you just say?
Rumpelstiltskin! Rumpelstiltskin!
Oh, how did you? No! No, no, no! You cheated! You cheated me out of the child! Get him out of here!
With pleasure!
Wait, it's not fair, I tell you! It's not... Wait! I bet you can't spell it! Oh, I bet you can't spell it!
It's just my job, I love my job. I am an evil
I cannot and will not keep my promise.
Oh, yes, you will, young lady. It is my royal order that you and Phineas become fast friends. You will keep your promise.
Papa, I am a princess, a member of royalty.
I know, and one day you will become ruler of this kingdom. You must learn that if you do not keep your promises, your royal subjects will soon lose their love and respect for you. If you do not care for them, they will not care for you.
But Papa!
Don't but Papa me. You will keep your promise, and that is final.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. I am starving. Ribbit, me too.
Here it is, Highness, a meal fit for a king.
Well, I am a king.
What a coincidence. I, Wanda LaCroix, the greatest chef in all of the kingdom, have prepared one of the world's greatest dishes for dinner tonight. Behold, French fried frog legs.
Oh, why do all the men stare? We stand so proud and grand. Oh, we're such a
a fine match. We're a much better catch. Iron my dress, clean out the nook. Look at her dreaming, her nose in a book. You are so pretty, I am divine. Look at her face, I wish it were mine. 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 I wish it were mine.
Released me from that spell. And then you came, and you showed me kindness, respect, and you were my friend. You saw past the ugliness to the man I really am. When you agreed to marry me, you released me from that spell. I will always be grateful to you. If you can love me for the man I am, I will be honored to make you my wife.
Oh, yes, my prince. For I loved you as you were before, and I will love you as you are now. Always. And yet I know, deep in my heart, that we will never be apart. Now that I've let the feeling start, we'll never be alone again.
Get out and take your silly sister with you.
But we're hungry.
I warned you, Gretel. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, you old meanie. I heard that. That means no food tomorrow either.
But,
one word from you, Gretel, and you won't eat for a week. Little brats. I oughta.
Here we go!
Perhaps if you showed me how to properly sit on the pad.
Yes, we'd be delighted to learn from someone as smart as you. Well, it's true. I am quite smart.
And you're very...
She is a good cook and she is smart. She'll make a perfect wife. I'm very happy to hear that, Senorita, because I have some very difficult questions I must ask you. If you answer them correctly, you will become my wife.
Your wife?
See, if you wish.
I do. Wish.
I say it again, you're very beautiful.
Yes, I know. And I say it again, you're very handsome.
And I say it again, you're very observant.
I am better with the sword. Because I have learned the skill you have not.
How dare you?
But I can teach you.
You would do this for me?
See?
No, it cannot be. I've never been given a turn.
You also teach me to be smart like you.
But you are smart.
No.
You answered the most difficult question of all.
It was an accident.
I will teach you to be smart, and you will teach me to be an excellent swordsman. We will never lie to each other again. We will live happily ever after.
Forever and ever. I would like to begin my lesson right now, my darling Don Juan. Tell me all about Einstein.
Einstein, senorita.
Whatever.
I say it again. You are very beautiful.
Yes, I know. And you are very handsome.
And you are very observant.
Yes, I know. Tell me, my darling Don Juan.
Yes, my darling Storyland.
What does observant mean?
Lovely. How absolutely lovely. And every song is different. You never know which melody you will hear. It's like a delightful surprise every time the nightingale opens her mouth.
How dare you attack Lady Amelia this way? I shall banish that bird from my palace as of this moment. If it is the cause of your rude behavior, I never want to see it again.
Oh, no, please, Your Majesty.
And as for you, you will apologize to Lady Amelia immediately.
We have not to care, for love sets us free. We will dance through our lives, and we'll never be alone again. again.
The beans grew to a great, big, beautiful tree, just as if we had planted it. But overnight, that's strange. Now that you mention it, I dreamt the same thing. Oh, but it was just a silly dream. Beans don't make trees. Oh, but they do make good soup. It was foolish of me to throw some perfectly good beans away just because I was upset. After all, 7 beans are 7 beans. So if you can find them, I'll wash them off and make you a delicious bean soup for breakfast. Oh, Mother, a magic soup. I know I can find them. And they must be right out back in the... Or a pound of sugar. Just drop in anytime. We can have some tea and chat.
Wonderful! I'll never be lonely again.
Neither will I. You know, it's not so glum being a giant after all. Not when you have friends who like you instead of being afraid of you. That's right.
The beanstalk was magic, it's true. It helped us to meet all of you. We learned a big lesson, we don't mind confessing. We now know the right things to do. When you meet someone who's quite different from you, that's alright, don't be shy if they fall from the sky.
Just enjoy each creature.
Just enjoy each creature and learn what they can teach you.
Friends, you and
You and I will make lots of friends if you try.
I want to thank our board of directors. They've been so helpful and involved. All of us participate in our shows as directors, playwrights, musical directors, composers, actors, teachers, crew. Everyone added expertise and dedication to make our shows the best they could be.
Was in the 3rd grade. We went with C.T. Walker to the Maxwell Performing Arts Theater. I went home and I searched and searched, and I found Storyland Theater's information and the name Barbara Feldman. You were my musical director with Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat at Davidson Fine Arts. And that was the beginning of a relationship that, for me, lasted my whole life, pretty much. So I met Miss Feldman when I was 15 years old, and now I've known her more of my life and known Storyland more of my life and worked with Storyland more of my life than I've done pretty much anything else. Outside of directing, I've done pretty much every part that we have to play in the production. And every kid that I have, and I have 4, each one has spent extensive amounts of time with Storyland. Each child I have has now worked in some part of the theater. I think one of the hardest parts about finding the right thing to say about Storyland is because it's meant so much to me and my family.
So when I retired, after 32 years, I wanted to be involved with children and with theater. So I called Barbara that night and I said, Barbara, and after all of these years of sending my children to you, I want you to put me to work. She said, put you to work? I want to put you in a show. But after doing a few shows, then from there, Barbara said, I think you've gone as far as you can go with that, but I need you to be a production manager. And then Barbara asked me if I would serve on the board. It was just a dream come true for me, for someone who was looking for something to do after retirement. It was a wonderful experience, and I loved every minute of it. And it's coming to an end, and that makes me sad. But when you think about all the good we did in that time, we have only reason to be proud.
Beauty and the Beast, and that was my favorite, still will be my favorite show I have ever done. And my son came with his preschool class, and I remember he wanted to dress up because he had always heard you dress up to go to the theater. So my little 3-year-old, we put him in a suit, tie. He came to the theater with his classmates, and they had made me a tissue paper rose. And if anybody has ever seen Storyland, seen Beauty and the Beast, you know the rose is extremely important. Well, they made me a tissue paper rose for him to present to me at the end of the show. And that was one of the most special moments. And I don't know if it was more special for me, because my son's watching me for the first time. You know, and I've always performed for kids, but to see your own son down there gleaming is amazing. And then he would tell you, he's now 17 years old, but he will tell you that's one of his favorite theater memories, was seeing his mom up on stage and seeing for the first time and understanding. But to see it come to life, and then your mom's the one there, like at life, but she's not your mom. You know, it's just a wonderful experience.
I've brought you another present. Perhaps this'll please you. It's the first rose to appear in the garden. I know how much you like roses.
Thank you. It's beautiful, and no flower smells as fragrant.
That's true. I dare say there's none quite as sweet and delicate. I dare say there's none quite as lovely. If only I
started with Storyland 23 years ago as a stand-in as Symphony Sonatina and Bilbo Baggins in the Magic Ring, to now a sitting board member, a proud sitting board member of Storyland. And I am one of my favorite things. I'm just so proud to be a board member of Storyland Theatre. And you can't help but just love it. And I miss it so much. There is nothing like Storyland Theatre. There is nothing like it. It is, I miss it. I miss it so much.
My first experience with Storyland is Rick Davis. He said, "Doug, you should come act for Storyland." I'm like, "Sure, I like acting. We can do that." I said, "But I do not sing, and I do not dance." He's like, "No problem." I go to my first rehearsal, and it was a singing rehearsal for music. And I looked at him, and he just smiled, shrugged his shoulders, and I've been part of them ever since.
I love the dress you're wearing.
I've always enjoyed my relationship with Storyland as a board member and a performer and director at times. It's one of the highlights of my theatrical experiences, because we would work hard, and I think we loved even harder. We stay in contact, made a lot of new friends. Those I probably would not come in contact with, and it's going to be I'm not going to say difficult, but it's been a pleasure to be part of such a really well-run organization. I mean, from the business end to the artistic end, it'll be almost impossible to replicate in Augusta.
After I was invited to play for the shows and rehearsals, I was given an invitation by Barbara to be part of the board of directors of Storyland Theatre. I was incredibly flattered because this was a group of people in Augusta that I respected. I knew of them, and I was very honored to be part of this group. I have 2 children who grew up around Storyland Theatre. They were invited to be part of rehearsals, they were invited to come to shows, and even today they will talk about timestamps in their life that follow Storyland Theatre. Oh, that was the spring we did that show, or I remember that actor. And of course, my daughter had a little crush on half of the princes that came through Storyland Theatre.
Another thing that I've really had fun doing is watching the look in my children's eyes. When I started with Storyland, my daughter was 11, she's 31 now, and my son wasn't even born yet. His very first theater experience was coming to a Storyland Theatre show. Bilbo and the Magic Ring. Oh, but I was also the voice of the spider. Incidentally, Bo, who was 6 months old at this point, had a spider costume. At the very last performance, just for fun, I brought Bo out with me to take a bow. Not too long after my artistic contributions were being made with Storyland, I was recruited to the board of directors, and I was very humbled at the offer. I was pleasantly surprised how well not only everybody got along, but how efficient the entire operation was. And I'm not artistic groups' Achilles' heels. It's the administration and the finances. And I have been so very proud of Storyland through the years in the way that they've been run, we've been run, and the way that we kept our financial ship in order.
The best part about Storyland were not the matinees, although it was fun to see all the families and have them bring their kids. The best part were the school shows. Just rows and rows and rows of children. And one child would start laughing, and the next child would start laughing, and it would be this auditorium full of kids laughing, and kids laugh with reckless abandon. And I don't know when adults stop doing that, but we do. And kids don't. So think of an auditorium filled with children laughing with reckless abandon. And it is unlike anything you've ever heard before. And the only way that you can truly experience that is if you are a teacher with your class, one of the very few chaperones who are there, or if you're on stage. There is no other Storyland. I mean, it's, and I sincerely mean this, just to be a small part of Storyland's rich history, what it has given my family, it's immeasurable.
So many special people are no longer with us. I miss them and their love. They grounded me and helped us grow to fulfill our quest for theater that would change young lives. We've also been fortunate to have worked with so many talented artists along the way. They added their viewpoints, their proficiency to make us even better.
Some of the other people I've worked with over the years who had so much knowledge and energy and ability that they brought that we learned from each other and then losing those people. I'd like to think that we can take a little bit of those people forward with us in some of the things that we've learned from them over the years. So that's been great.
My children became my support on this journey, offering their ideas as children and expertise as adults in costuming, web design, computers, video design, and even working on productions. My husband offered support from the start. My grandchildren's reactions have been a joy. We all benefited from participating in and experiencing Storyland together. I'm so grateful for their expertise and encouragement. And now, I'd like to thank all of you, our fairy godparents over the years who have given us the financial support that made it possible for us to continue our work while permitting us to help so many socioeconomically disadvantaged children see our live performances. The teachers who have shared their students with us all these years, working with us to reserve seats, collect money for tickets, and especially those who shared wonderful pictures, videos, and letters the students wrote after attending our productions. Everyone who worked on a Storyland production over the years, devoting their talent, time, and energy to ensure that our shows were the best they could be. And most of all, thank you all for attending our productions, for bringing your children to us so we could teach them all to love the arts.
Bye.